Newsfirst at 9. Headlines.
Good evening and welcome to News at 9 live from the Newsfirst Centre in Colombo. I'm Katharina Chang and these are your headlines. Bodies of Gopi and 3 others killed in confrontation with troops support on Anuradhapura. An international investigation will not be accepted, a statement by Minister Mahinda Samarasinghe. Former President attempted to amend the constitution and stay in power. Minister S.B. Dissanayake makes a startling revelation. Retail traders charge that they are unable to sell rice at the government-controlled price. Let's now join the main news desk for details of these stories and much more.
Well, thank you very much, Katrina. Very good evening to you. Welcome to Weekend Primetime News. I'm Shahin Jirampati. Now, take a look at the stories in detail. The bodies of Gopi, Appan and Thevian, who were killed in a confrontation with troops in the jungle close to Padavia, were brought to the Anuradhapura Teaching Hospital this morning. Police media spokesperson SSP Ajit Sona said that the magistrate has ordered for the bodies to be buried in Anuradhapura. It was announced yesterday that 3 local leaders in an attempted resurgence of the LTTE identified as Selvanayagam Kajipan alias Gopi, Sundaralingam Kajipan alias Thevihan and Navaratnam Navaneedan alias Appan were killed in a confrontation with troops in the jungle of Padavia. The bodies of the deceased, Gopi, Thevian and Appan, were brought to the morgue at the Anuradhapura Teaching Hospital for the preliminary examination. Several relatives of the deceased were present and the police recorded statements from them. The police commenced an investigation in this regard after we were informed by the army. The Kapatiyulla magistrate conducted the magisterial inquiry yesterday. Based on the instructions of the magistrate, the bodies were brought to the Anuradhapura hospital. Today, the judicial medical officer of the Anuradhapura hospital conducted the post-mortem examination. Later, upon court orders, measures were taken to bury the bodies in Anuradhapura. Minister Mahinda Samarasinghe says that an international investigation will not be accepted. The minister expressed this view after he called on the Mahanayakas of the Askeri and Malwata chapters of the Siam sect. Minister Mahinda Samarasinghe arrived at the temple of the Sacred Tooth relic called on the chief prelate of the Malwata chapter of the Siam sect. The minister briefed the prelate on the resolution that was adopted at the United Nations Human Rights Council.
දැන් ඒගොල්ලෝ එහෙ ඉඳලා පරීක්ෂණයක් ආරම්භ කරන්න තමයි දැන් ලෑස්ති වෙන්නේ. ඒකට අවශ්‍යයි මෙහෙට අපි එන්න දෙන්නේ නැහැ කියන තීරණය රජෙන් අරන් තියෙනවා නේද? මොකද ඔය ජාත්‍යන්තර පරීක්ෂණ කවදාවත් ස්වාධීනව කෙරෙන්නේ නැහැ. අපි දන්නවා. ප්‍රශ්නයක් ඇති වෙන්න හේතුවක් නැහැ මොකද අපිට ඡන්දෙ දුන්න අය අපිට සහයෝගය දෙන අය කියන්නේ ඉන්දියාව ඇතුළු ජාත්‍යන්තර පරීක්ෂණයක් අවශ්‍ය නැහැ කියලා. ඒගොල්ලෝ ඉතින් කියන්නේ දේශීය පරීක්ෂණ පවත්වලා ඒ හරහා අවශ්‍ය දේවල් කරන්න කියලා.
Subsequently, the minister called on the chief prelate of the Askeri chapter of the Siam sect. Later, the minister expressed these views to the media. After explaining the situation regarding the killing of 3 LTTE members, including Gopi, I took Geneva as an example. During the discussion, many Western nations made requests from us. They requested us to remove the military presence in those areas. We spoke on behalf of the government. We told them that there is no such way to resort to such action within a short period of 4 to 5 years. Yesterday's incident will allow us to portray the international community that we took the right decision. The Frontline Socialist Party accused the government of sowing the seeds of separatism to hide its political issues. Issuing a communique, the FSP points out that everyone should unite to subvert the acts of separatism and anti-democracy processes.
The Frontline Socialist Party says one might at a glance come to the conclusion from the recent events relating to the killing of 3 LTT local leaders, including Gopi in Nadunkani, The arrest of over 50 persons for questioning following raids in the north and the prescribing of 16 organizations, the resurgence of the LTTE. The communique goes on to state that it is evident that the government would take prompt measures to suppress such an attempt. The Frontline Socialist Party is of the view that the reality is far more different to what is portrayed and that politics is changing a course. Translation, begin quote. The government's immediate objective at present is to salvage itself from the pressure that is being exerted by the Human Rights Council investigation and the recent election results which the government failed to calculate. The government intends to sow the seeds of separatism and attract the people towards the government who are moving away from the government in light of the increasing cost of living. With all these developments, the government once again needs the LTTE. End of translation. The FSP emphasizes that the government's actions will only pave the way for divide between the Sinhalese, Tamils and Muslims and bring back the tribal politics and nothing more.
We're making headlines this evening. Minister of Higher Education SP Dissanayake says that the attempts made by the former president to remain in power by amending the constitution had failed. The minister expressed his view while attending an event in Udunuvara, Kandy. I recently saw the statement made by the former president in Abilipitia. She said that she had informed her children that she would not stay in power for no more than 2 terms. That is a blatant lie. It was I who brought her back to the country. I was the general secretary of her party. She attempted to amend the constitution and stay in power till her death. However, she did not save sufficient votes to amend the constitution. She couldn't garner support from the opposition, nor was she able to keep us together. The reason for this is very sad. She could not do anything for 11 years. If she was given a loophole, she would have amended the constitution and remained in power till her death. However, she did not have the support of the government nor the opposition. It was the 161 members of parliament and the people of this country who wanted the savior of our nation to be in office for some time. It's not the Rajapaksas. That is why the constitution was amended. President Mahinda Rajapaksa paid his last respects to the late Venerable Kandurupokone Buddhavangsha Thero this morning. The body of the late Venerable Kandurupokone Buddhavangsha Thero, who was the chief incumbent of the Polammarua Sri Pushparamaya in Tangol and the Vitaramdeniya Galkanda Rajama Viharaya, is currently lying at the Sri Pushparamaya Viharaya. The president visited the Viharaya to pay his last respects to the late Thero and conveyed his condolences to the monks at the Viharaya. The Government Midwifery Service Association decided to call off its 14-day strike last night. President of the association, Devika Korituakku, said that midwives will report to duty from tomorrow.
The Government Midwifery Service Association commenced a strike action objecting the decision to offer midwifery training to nurses. The midwives had agreed to call off their strike action after an agreement was reached at the discussion held with the Minister of Health yesterday.
Sutika puhunuwa laba diya yutte prasavaha nariveda visesanya vaidyawaru.
Labour room training should be provided by an obstetrician or gynecologist. They have made it clear that they will not be providing labour room training. If they are not providing any training, there won't be an examination as well. The papers will not be looked at. They have to place their signatures on the certificate. Who will sign it hereafter? Today, the Ministry of Health is in a crisis. Therefore, it was made clear at the discussion that we will not be receiving this training in a proper manner. We requested the Minister to provide a 1-year training to the family health workers. This was agreed upon at the discussion. It was agreed to commence a labour room training school.
Meanwhile, the Sri Lanka Obstetricians and Gynecologists Association says that if nurses are to be offered labour room training, nurses should be below the age of 45 and should possess a minimum of 4 years of experience. It adds that such nurses who received the training were directed for the care of mothers who are at risk. The association points out that there is an issue where the nursing students possess the required experience to care for mothers at risk. Therefore, the Sri Lanka Obstetricians and Gynecologists Association says that there is no point in providing such persons with labour room training and hence decided to refrain from engaging in training activities and examinations. If there is an issue on labour room training with regards to the B group of 2009, a discussion needs to be called with the gynecologist and solution should be thus reached. This issue only arises with regards to one batch. They have enrolled students at present. This is because they are already in the health sector. This batch needs to be removed at this point or needs to continue as agreed. Then there will be no issue. I believe that we need a solution for this. If doctors are not providing the treatment, the agreement will not be fulfilled. Providing training hence will not be of any use.
And up next is Action TV.
The Sir John Kothalawalu College, Kurunegala, was at the centre of much controversy over the suicide of a student. When facts were presented to court of the situation surrounding the suicide of the student, it was revealed that there was a dark room in the school which had a bed. Justifying the reasons for having a bed in such a room, an education official from the Northwestern Province stated that such a bed may have been placed in the room as the principal was not in good health. Such a justification may also be viewed with surprise, as windows of this building were tinted in black. Now on a separate note, this building, which is at the Mayurpada Central College in Kurunegala, was a donation from a distinguished past pupil of the school, former Navy Commander Somatilaka Dissanayake. Somatilaka Dissanayake made this donation to his alma mater while he was serving as Navy Commander upon a request made to him by the then principal of the school. Although the former Navy Commander donated this building for the betterment of his school, he is compelled to point out that the current principal of the school is using this building to fulfill his personal agendas. The cadet corps of the school only uses a section of this building, while the remaining section is isolated and the windows have been tinted in black. Although the facilities for the cadets have been neglected, this receipt goes on to show that the principal celebrated the school's cadet day had in fact spent money exorbitantly to mark the event. The receipt, which was issued under the name of the school, indicates that over 48,000 rupees was spent on alcohol alone. Almost 62,000 rupees have been spent on cigarettes, soft drinks and breakfast. However, the same restaurant had issued a number of receipts under the name of Mayurpada Central College during 2013. The total amount of these receipts amount to almost 300,000 rupees, and over 70% of the cost is for the purchase of alcohol. According to a letter directed to the president by 56 teachers at this school on the 4th of this month, it is said payments for these costs were paid for by parents on a number of occasions as donations made to the school when admitting their children. These receipts that have been issued by a restaurant that is licensed to sell alcohol and also pays taxes to the state had undoubtedly caused a social stigma. Who will be held accountable for the damages caused to the Mayurpada Central College in Kurunegala? Education Director for Religious Affairs, this one is over to you.
Well, here's what's coming up on the news later on tonight. Front in India's prime ministerial race, Narendra Modi hits out at ruling Congress party and claims Congress's defeat is certain, while the country's prime minister says Modi is making unrealistic promises to the people that cannot be fulfilled, as the country casts their vote in the fourth phase of the world's biggest election. Well, that's what will be coming our way on international desk. But in the meantime, in local news, a fuel bowser transporting fuel from Kulonnavar to the Mattala airport burst into flames in the Meega Jadura area in Suryawada.
The police said that the bowser carrying 33,000 litres of fuel was destroyed in a fire that erupted following a collision involving the bowser in question and a parked bus. The fire also destroyed a shop in the vicinity and also damaged high voltage electricity line. The fire caused no casualties and the damage is yet to be estimated. At around 12:45, a Bowser toppled over after colliding with the bus. The fire spread rapidly and the shop also caught on fire. We were helpless. A large crowd gathered. The fire was alight for over 4 hours. We called the police and the fire brigade. The police arrived but the fire brigade didn't. We couldn't douse the fire. The fire caused no casualties and the damage is yet to be estimated.
One person was injured in an accident that occurred in the Kanagara and Kulam area along the Jaffna Kandy A9 road last evening. Newsfirst reporter B.M. Rashad from Udatalavinna sent us these compelling footage of the aftermath of the accident. This accident occurred when two lorries travelling in two opposite directions collided with each other. We saw the manner in which the driver of the lorry was strapped in one of the lorries. He was saved with the assistance from the police and area residents. Thereafter, he was taken to hospital to receive further treatment. Following the accident, there was a heavy traffic congestion along the Kandy-Jaffna route for about 30 minutes.
Newsfirst reporter B.M. Rashad, Udatalavinna Madige Center.
The control price imposed on rice was recently revised. However, traders and consumers lament that the amendment has not provided a solution to the issues in the market. Based on the Consumer Affairs Authority Act No. 9 of 2003, the government decided to impose a maximum retail price for a kilogram of rice on the 18th of March 2009. Accordingly, a kilogram of de-stoned samba other than kiri samba and suduru samba was sold at 70 rupees. Meanwhile, white nadu, a kilogram of white kakulu and red kakulu was sold at 60 rupees. However, Newsfirst on a number of occasions highlighted that retail traders were selling rice above the stipulated price that was brought forth through the Act. In order to arrest the situation, the government introduced a control price for rice with effect from midnight on the 9th of April. Based on the new price revision, the price of a kilogram of white nadu, which stood at 60 rupees, was increased to 68 rupees, while a kilogram of white kakulu and red kakulu, which was also sold at 60 rupees, was increased to 66 rupees, an increase of 6 rupees. However, the Ministry of Cooperatives and Internal Trade said that kiri samba and suduru samba do not fall under the new control price.
We spoke with the president and based on his instructions we introduced the control price for rice. The reason for this was the drought. Farmlands are destroyed. We have to ensure ample stocks of the rice in the country. If this does not happen, a kilo of rice would increase to 120 to 130 rupees. We need to act tactfully.
Meanwhile, the Consumer Affairs Authority took measures to raid shops that sell rice over the stipulated price frame. During the past 48 hours, 250 traders who sold rice above the government-imposed maximum retail price were identified during the raids. However, is the new control price practically being implemented?
We bought nadu 2 days ago. There is a cost there. Then we have to purchase the rice for a higher price and sell for a lesser price. You cannot buy anything for a fair price. Some prices are high while some are less. The price ranges.
From which shop can you buy rice for that price? We were not able to buy rice for that price from any shop.
I bought this rice for 420 rupees. If the law is not implemented, what is the use of that? The government says that rice needs to be sold at 60, 65 or 70 rupees. But here a kilogram of nadu is sold at 80 rupees. If we are provided for a lesser price, we can sell for the price indicated.
The price of rice is high. This is a burden on us.
Imposing a control price is good, but not good at this time. When the control price was imposed, it was difficult for us. Why? Because we have large stocks of rice. We incurred a loss. The price varies from one day to another. The control price was imposed after all stocks were sold. This causes an inconvenience for the retailers and the consumers. The control price needs to be imposed during the harvest season. The mills have taken in all the rice.
A central bank report reveals that as of the end of 2013, 10 of every 100 people are users of the internet.
The central bank for 2013 reveals that the number of internet connections had grown by 47% in 2013 compared to 2012. The report adds that the mobile data connections have contributed to this growth. The Central Bank of Sri Lanka says that as the number of users who access the internet via mobile phones without a proper data package have been included in the survey, thereby the actual number of internet users can be higher than predicted. In 2012, the number of fixed-line users stood at 17% and that figure dropped to 13.2% in 2013. The Central Bank of Sri Lanka says that as of the end of 2013, the number of persons who own a mobile phone in Sri Lanka was 99.2% of the total population.
The dawn of the Sinhala and Tamil New Year is fast approaching and preparations for the festive season is at its peak. Now the Newsfirst team ventured into a number of areas including Petadis, and this is what we saw.
Many were delighted in the hustle and bustle of holiday shopping in view of the festive season in the city.
There is no problem. The New Year has been good. Business is good. We celebrated New Year in a festive manner. When comparing to last year, sales have decreased significantly. We had a good sale this year when compared to last year.
We also saw the public preparing for the New Year with much enthusiasm in many areas in the south, north and also the east.
Let's now take a look at our special segment dedicated for the Sinhala and Tamil New Year.
Panchakelya, which is a sport linked with goddess Patani, is known to be popular amongst the village folk. The Panchapeta in the game of Panchakelya consists of 34 squares. It is believed that this game is related to the Hindu tradition because of the use of words such as Unduva and Renduva. Certain aspects of the game is fading with time, and the manner in which the game is played differs from one village to another.
Well, today is day 16 of Around the World in 40 Days, a goodwill tour organized by Newsfirst and Sri Lanka Youth in order to promote the upcoming World Conference on Youth, which will be held in Sri Lanka later this year.
Around the World in 40 Days.
Sydney, Australia is the city which is most busiest at the end of the week. Many companies provide an off day to their employees once a week and public spend their time engaging in various activities. Train services, buses and hired vehicles including naval ships make up their transport service in Australia. This is the breathtaking view of the Sydney Opera House at night, which is one of the tourist destinations in Australia.
The Around the World team that was in Sydney, Australia over the past few days were able to see many ethnicities living harmoniously together. Now, a large number of immigrant families live in Sydney, Australia. However, the influx of immigrants has died down a bit due to the tightening of immigration laws. The Around the World team that is creating awareness on the World Conference on Youth 2014 will travel to the USA tomorrow. Our first stop will be San Francisco following a 13-hour flight, and then we will head off to New York. In New York, we will be conducting special awareness campaign on the conference. For the Newsfirst team, I'm Ramesh Irugal Bandara with Yasrat Kamalsari from Sydney, Australia.
An approach towards traditional agricultural micro-knowledge entrepreneurship for rapid livelihood development by Durayaswamy Kumaran Thanagaraja was unveiled yesterday. The launch took place at the National Library and Documentation Services Board. The book is authored by Durayaswamy Kumaran Thanagaraja, a UN marketing economist.
I think the time has come for all of us to become involved in assisting our people in coming out of their own perceived level of poverty and for them to achieve freedom and happiness. In the end, freedom and happiness, it is all a state of mind.
The first editions of the book were presented at the event. India's main opposition, Bharatiya Janata Party, requested the Election Commission to review its order that bans its leader Narendra Modi's close aide Amit Shah from addressing rallies in Uttar Pradesh for allegedly making highly inflammatory speeches while electioneering. Now, Election Commission of India yesterday banned two politicians from addressing any public rallies after they made hate speeches during election campaigns.
The BJP has a deep regard for the institution of Election Commission. Very important for free and fair poll. But the order passed today banning Shri Amit Shah in the company of Shri Azam Khan, Minister of Samajwadi Party government, from undertaking any campaign in Uttar Pradesh is certainly an order which has saddened the BJP. The party has examined all the speeches made by Shri Amit Shah and has not found anything offensive against his utterances, nor the same is violative of the moral code of conduct.
Voters in India's northeastern states of Tripura and Assam stood in long serpentine queues to cast their vote in an election that will determine the fate of over 1.2 billion people. The elections to choose members to the 543-seat Lok Sabha or House of the People are spread over 5 weeks in 9 separate phases and ends on the 12th of May. Results would be announced on the 16th of May. As the day progressed, number of voters outside the polling stations began swelling in Tripura state. Most opinion polls predict that India's 815 million voters are set to inflict a resounding defeat on the ruling Congress party led by the Nehru-Gandhi dynasty. Meanwhile, voting is also underway in 3 constituencies of India's northeastern Assam state. BJP candidate Narendra Modi is tainted by accusations that he failed to stop or even encourage anti-Muslim riots in 2002 in the state of Gujarat, where he is chief minister. At least 1,000 people died in the violence, most of them Muslims. Modi has denied the charges and a Supreme Court inquiry found no evidence to prosecute him. The front-runner in the prime ministerial race, Narendra Modi, hit out at India's ruling Congress party and claimed that Congress's defeat was certain and it would not win even a single seat from the northwestern Rajasthan province. Addressing a rally in Bama district in Rajasthan, prime ministerial candidate of main opposition Bharatiya Janata Party, Modi said Congress was playing dirty politics and had already conceded defeat.
I have never seen such an election in the past. This is one election. There will be many states in which Congress party will not win even a single seat, and one of them will be Rajasthan. In this election, there will be no region where Congress party will cross the 2 digits. It is possible that it will get votes below that mark. The Congress party is going through bad days. The Congress has already left the election battleground. Congress has accepted its defeat, and it is involved in playing dirty politics nowadays.
पूरी कांग्रेस पार्टी गंदी हरकतें करने में व्यस्त हो गई है.
Meanwhile, India's Prime Minister Manmohan Singh said main opposition Bharatiya Janata Party's prime ministerial candidate Narendra Modi was making unrealistic promises to the people and that could not be fulfilled.
Their election campaign is centered around a person. He is making tall claims which has no basis, and he is making such promises that cannot be fulfilled. If you look at the BJP manifesto, you would realize that there is no difference in their old agendas to divide the society.
Well, before we wrap up, just a reminder that planet Mars will be at its closest to Earth on the night of the 14th of April, followed by a total lunar eclipse on the 15th of April and a partial solar eclipse on the 29th of April. And with that, let's take a look at the weather forecast for the next 24 hours. And with that, wrap up tonight's news edition as well. For the Newsfirst team, I'm Shan Pati. Good night and take care.
Hotline 0114-896-896 www.newsfirst.lk. Feedback at newsfirst.lk.